Okay, I'm going to show you how to tune a marching drum. Now I don't have quite the right heads for this marching drum. This is an old pearl marching drum given to me by a friend. Anyways, they have tunable strands on the snare strainer, as you can see. There's little screws in here, and each strand is tunable. Unlike rock snares where most of the strainers are all one, like a 20 band will be all soldered as one piece. You can't really do much with those. So I'll show you what to do here. First you loosen off the mechanism here. Everything is in a giant scale on marching drums for the most part. So I got to put the camera down. So you take the pencils, you get two pencils on either side like this. I will slide this one over actually right now. I'll show you when I get the other one in here, and I'll hand back. Okay, so you see the pencil there and the pencil there. So now we're going to engage the snare basket, or the snare strainers right here. Just pushing this down. And basically, you have a guitar. And if you can kind of get a note here. Let me get this a little straighter. You can hear a pitch. All the rest are too low, except for this one maybe. Now, what you want to do is tune each strand to relatively the same pitch. So this is what it looks like from the top view. It's a little bit dark in here. I'm trying to the best light as possible. Okay, so I'm just going to get my screwdriver and then we'll start tuning. Okay. So, you don't want to go with the highest pitch, but unfortunately most of these are stretched and totally out of tune, so I will try and match that first one that's tight. Now you only have so much room for adjustment in the mechanisms here. Hold on, I'm going to switch to macro lens, hold on. Mechanisms here. It's basically like the bridge on a guitar. You only have so much adjustments, right? So you can tighten it up a bit as long as we get all the pitches the same. Unlike a guitar where it would be E, A, D, G, B, E, or like a piano notes. So we want just a uniform sound or pitch on all strings to be all the same. So I'm going to flip it this way, and you can see the screws all adjustable here. Okay, so I've got the camera down. It's hard to do, so try and match the pitch on the second ones. It's very hard to do because they're so close. Sometimes a guitar pick helps. I don't think I got one here though. Yeah, so I like to use a guitar pick, so you can hear that one's lower in pitch. That's what you're trying to do, get all the strings to sound somewhat the same. like a banjo. There we go to the third one. 1, 2, 3. Fourth screw. So that's 4 of them that kind of sound the same so far. Ooh, that one's really low. That's the fifth one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You count the screws over. Okay, so we got a rough. A little bit out in one, but not bad. So you want them, it's not like a guitar where it has to be absolutely perfect, because you're never going to get it perfect, because with pencils being here, they do move a little bit. But what you want to try and do is get them the tensions as close as possible. So a little bit low in the middle. Alright, so that's basically how you do that part. Because before they were radically different from each other. So we'll take the release off here, and we have to adjust height, and oops, wrong side. Don't need these anymore. Take the pencils out, and now the snares will be a little bit loose here, so we adjust the tensions. There's a tension screw under here. Now the snare is upside down, so it's hard to see. Okay. Okay, so we're going to adjust the tension right here actually. The other ones are height. Pretty tight there. We'll go a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm getting a little bit of looseness on this one here. Not quite sure why. Okay. So right in here, there's a little bit of a space. We want to try and eliminate that. And there's an adjustment for height, which is this bottom one right here. And that moves the whole bracket up. And the same with this side, there's an adjustment here, thumb screw here, and brings it up. You can see it's just got a little bit of a bend over the edge. So we can adjust that to bring this whole basket up. Now, it's a bit tight, so I'm going to have to loosen that off a bit. I may have to take it apart and grease it because it feels pretty tight where it shouldn't be. Oh, there it goes. And this whole thing will actually go upwards, up this way. It's hard to tell. And now we're getting better contact in here because this whole basket's up. You want total coverage. Now this side is definitely in need of some help. And it will do the same. You can see right here, just go by this edge to here. This part's going to move up that way. Unlike, almost like regular snare drums, good quality snare drums. And sometimes you have to adjust the tensions a bit more right here. Yeah, that one still needs adjusting. So I'll go a little more. Otherwise it chokes the snare, which is what I was getting. So not bad there. It's getting there. I'll do the tension again. It feels pretty tight. And that's pretty much, that's a good starting point. I might go a little more on this one. Just a bit more. And that is basically it. So I've got an ambassador on this bottom, which is a little bit heavy. Some guys use it. I don't really have a thinner diplomat, but sometimes marching snare diplomats, they kind of break apart. So as you can see, the strands there, they all feel pretty good tension. This one's probably a little bit loose. You may have to retune it just a bit. This is an old drum. You can tell it's been sitting for a while, and it may need new strands, but good enough for practice. And that is it. You tune the skins. Actually, before I go any further, hold on. Tuning the skins, you can tell that these have tons of lugs. See? So I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 lugs. Because they're both sides, right? And basically tune like a regular drum. I usually start at the outside edges, and then you crisscross. So go here, over to here, and then do the star patterns, they call it. And what that does is tightens a bit on this side, back and forth, so you don't get a bent rim, and you get contact on the bearing edges pretty even. So yeah, on the other side of this drum, I've got a high energy, this is basically an Aquarian head I use on most of my rock kits, but it's got this cool extra mylar section here, adds strength, and also an impact dot. Not that I'm a heavy hitter, but it's got a really interesting sound on regular rock drums, and I've seen them on marching snares, so I had an old one. I said, well, I'll throw it on. So that's the scoop. Marching drum 101. Okay, there's the drum. I just got it on a stand right now. Got it really tight. I've got it muted. I don't like muting snares, but a lot of marching bands like it dry. And that skin on there is pretty thick. Thicker than I would like on a marching snare. I used to use Duralines. I don't know if drummers out there remember Duralines. They were a woven skin. Always found them great for marching drums. But they were so damned expensive. I don't even think they make them anymore. Now you can adjust the strainers, although they don't adjust like regular rock drum strainers. You can adjust it right here for a little bit looser. But basically the rock strainers sound better. Flat ones, I mean, they're okay, and the tunable ones are okay for marching, but on rock drum sets gets to be a pain in the butt. It's very time consuming. So anyways, with a thinner head on here, because this is like a mylar head with another adhesive mylar. This is actually, you can feel it. It's got a texture to it. You can hear it. And then it's got an impact dot. skin is old. This is like really old. It's done, but I just wanted to get this snare drum going. So anyways, that is the scoop. It's hard to give you a test of it with both hands here. I think I can put the camera anywhere, so you're kind of out of luck. So it's up and running. This one is a pearl. It's seen its day. It's these are outdated. Now they have these baskets up on top. I forget what they call it, but the basket actually bolts to here, and then there's a top part, and there's actually a whole cage bracket underneath the head now with a strainer under there and a strainer at the bottom of the snare. So they don't sound woody like this. They sound very, very precise. Very cool, but very expensive. I would love to get one just for practicing, but that's a lot of money for really just for something fun to do. But yeah, you'll see them. They'll have the tuning rods here go into this basket, and this basket's about this tall. And then this rim and skin are on top of this metal basket, so you can have the wood shell, but this huge metal bracket or basket on top with this mechanism for a secondary strainer. Very, very cool. That's technology. If you want to look at them, look at the Yamaha ones. The Yamaha ones are great. Anyways, it's a little bit boxy. That's just because of the head I'm using. It would brighten up. I do have an old Line that I will throw on it. It's like a yellow mesh. You can see the mesh. They used to advertise it. You could burn a cigarette hole right through it and it would still keep all the tension. It was pretty amazing heads. But basically one sound. It really wasn't that appealing for too many things, but I loved it for marching drum. Okay, so that's it.